How is everyone doing? I'm inefficiency, this is Blue Lines TV, and today's video is brought to you by the One Football app. Now, I keep saying this every single time, it's the most convenient app to have because it's the quickest way in which to get your news. The alerts are a very good feature. All you have to do is type in a club or player or news story of your interest into the search bar. Once you do that, you can then follow that person or club. And when you do that, you'll get constant access to notifications to all the new news surrounding the club or the player. It's a useful feature. If you want that, make sure you go in the link in the description below and download the One Football app. A little brief introduction before I get straight into the video. Now, yes, of course, if you guys cast your minds back to December, I released that video called The End. Now, in that video, I was basically discussing what our immediate future is looking like, in regards to the futures of Hazard and Hudson-Odoi and the club's fears when it comes to this transfer ban. Now, unfortunately, everything has gone to plan from what I said in that video. And as I also said in that video, the club do have very good grounds in which to make an appeal, and our best case scenario is that we can postpone it by at least one window, so we can have the summer transfer window at least, which I really think we need to have. So fingers crossed they do that. But everyone's feeling quite confident that we are going to get this suspended. But as you can see, for me, this is poetic justice. It really is. We've risked it all for nothing. The irony is just too funny. We're getting a transfer ban because of our conduct when it comes to signing youth players, but we don't even create any pathways for the first team for these guys. We have no plans for them once they reach 18. And there's further irony in the fact that, Bertrand Traore is one of the main reasons as to why the club is in this mess right now. And even though we did so much to sign him, we spent a lot of years trying to sign this guy. In the end, he ended up leaving us to sign for Lyon on a permanent because he wasn't very confident about his future with us. And I think that's just really sad. And this transfer ban for me really signifies the inefficiency at this club. This ban is a culmination of all the stupid things we've done over the years. An efficient club would create pathways into the team if they're investing so much on youth players and the youth academy, and when it comes to signing these guys as well. But sadly, we don't. And for me, this ban is a blessing in disguise. Obviously, in a way, it's going to be a bit peak for me because, if there's no transfer window, that means that I can't really report any transfer stories. But I'm not a self-serving guy. It doesn't really bother me that much. I'll find some other content to release during the summer when that does happen. For me, it's all about the club. That's the main reason why I even started doing a Chelsea YouTube channel, because I have the passion for my club and I want to see us do things the right way. That's all I want to see. And I think the best direction for going in the right path is to start relying and using the loan army and the academy. And why do I keep saying that it's time to rely on what we have already? Well, and I keep stressing this reality every single time, we've got a transfer ban coming. We're not a club that can spend 300 million in the market unless we sell a lot of players. We've got financial fair play constrictions. We don't make enough money just yet to justify spending tons and tons of money on players. And if you're someone that doesn't believe that, relying on the academy and the loan army is gonna be the thing that helps takes us forward in the future, you have to understand that what I just painted is the only reality in which we can become a big club. And we're just not able to spend that type of money to get right to the top. It's not gonna happen. It's going to have to be a long game. Like, the academy has been such a shining light for this club for the past 10 years. We turned the academy from a very average one to one of the best, if arguably the best academy in the world. And this is what really frustrates me, because back then, when everyone had the plan and vision to really step up the youth academy and make it a world-class academy, they obviously understood that time and patience was needed. And of course, the structures needed to be in place as well to really turn it into a world-class academy. And it's like, why haven't we translated this approach to the youth academy to the first team? For too long now, for years, the first team has felt like an alien part of this club. It's really its own entity entirely. But now we have this transfer ban incoming. There's never been a perfect time to bring the first team into the modern world, into the club's modern ethos. If you think about it, outside of the first team, we're a really amazing club that's run really well. We bring in great commercial deals. We really help out with the community. We tackle a lot of community projects as well. We regularly support charities as well. We have the structures in place for people to, get higher up positions if they work hard. That's all there. And of course, we produce a world-class youth academy. Now it's time to bring this same ethos into the first team. And as I said, the best and only way to do this is to start turning on the academy, because we don't have the money to spend big. Unless we start to develop those foundations in which to really start building things for the future. This needs to be our project, and it needs to be our project now, because unless we don't go down this path, we're not going to be challenging for the top in Europe. Relying on the academy sorts three main issues for me. That's recruitment, philosophy, and marketing. Now let me explain philosophy to you guys. I'm going to use our youth academy as an example for this. What's one of the main reasons as to why the academy is so successful? It's because we have top players playing in a system that gets the very best out of them and play to their strengths. It's simple. And we've had this philosophy ingrained in the youth academy for years now. This is why every single year we can bring in more players and more players. This is why you can see an under 16 player playing with the under 18s or under 21s, for example. They were all brought up in that same structure. And this is why when you watch Youth Academy play, they look like a very cohesive team. And when you have a philosophy in place, if that's defensive football or attacking football or whatever, you start to attract coaches who complement your philosophy. Now, if you look at our recent history when it comes to coaches in the youth scene, we've had guys like Brendan Rodgers, Lampard, Morris, Steve Holland, Paul Clement, AD as well. There's been so many. As I said, their philosophy on the game complements the youth players and complements the system as well. This is why whenever these coaches left, the other coach should come and continue things. That's how sustainability works. But if you compare it to us, where we love to sack managers that play one style, then we bring in another one with another style, it doesn't give the players any time to grow in a system. And we've seen in modern football, when a team has years to play in the same system, they get better playing in it. And Sarri's testament to that. If you look at his Napoli team, over the 3 years they improved, they got better with their pass accuracy, their finishing, every stat increased exponentially. And for me, this is why football is quite simple. Moving on to my second point, and that is recruitment, and it's quite a simple one. If you rely on these guys, it's going to stop us from spending way too much for very average players. We've been doing that for way too long now. It's not helping us in the long term. What ends up happening is eventually, these average players do get found out, and it affects what the good players can do on the field. Should Eden Hazard really be playing alongside Alonso? Of course not. As I keep saying, if you look at all the top wingers in the world, they've got a top class supporting fullback. That's what you need. If step one is in place, this means that it'll be quite easy to introduce young players into the first team because they understand the system. So if there's areas where we need strengthening or if we need a backup, we can rely on the academy. And because of that, because if he starts off as being the backup player, and let's say he gets 20 games that season, if he shows a manager that he can play at this level, that means for next season he could potentially get more game time, and then after a while you might potentially phase out your first team right back to introduce him into the first team, and then you continue the process by having another young player support him behind, and it's simple. That's how it works. I'm moving on to my third point, and that's in regards to marketing. And I feel like marketing is something that we don't really consider too much as fans. Now, if I was to ask you, what is the main appeal of being a Chelsea fan? How would you sell that to someone that doesn't support the club or isn't really too interested in football? And for me, what better way to revamp the entire club's image than by showing you're a club that relies on what you produce in your academy? It's a simple story, but as fans, we love that story of, let's say an inner city kid that plays near where the club is, and, he ends up playing for the club one day and then he's out there representing the shirt, blah, blah, blah. It's a great story, and when you're a fan, and you can relate more with these players. And I'm thinking, look at the Chelsea players we have. We've watched all of these guys since they were kids playing for us. We've seen them develop and get better. We've seen them turn into young men. We've seen them ready for first team football now, and they're all very good players. They understand what it means to play for Chelsea because it's something that's been instilled in them since they were kids. They know what it means to win. Why am I saying that? Because they win everything. They've all won individual trophies or trophies as a team. They get that confidence boost when they put on the shirt. And that's how you sell a club. So far, if we sign any player, are they really going to have that type of passion playing for us? And yeah, of course, it's not the most important thing, but it is something that gives the very best players that very small edge. Guys like Ruben, guys like Reece, guys like Hudson-Odoi, they've all won things already. They understand what it means. Is it any surprise that those three players I said in particular are massive diehard Chelsea fans? That's Mason Mount, that's Ruben, that's Reece James, that's Hudson-Odoi. It keeps going on. Can you imagine these guys giving up us wearing the shirt and us ever losing the game 6-0? But realistically, could you see that happening? We really need to translate the academy into the first team. Now you might be thinking, Nini, this sounds nice in theory, but does this actually work? We're a club that needs to win things. I don't know, for me personally, when I keep hearing that argument every single time, it tells you that you're not considering every angle when it comes to having your thoughts and opinions. But what I would say to you is, look at Ajax now and look at Lyon. Look at Barcelona as well. They have that entire culture where it's been cultivated over how many years? Over decades. All because of Johan Cruyff. It makes a big difference. In the end, because of him instilling that philosophy, Barcelona were able to find the greatest player in the history of football, Lionel Messi, who was from their academy and cost them absolutely nothing. This only happens if you're a club that have a philosophy. You reap the benefits in the future. This is why Barcelona every single decade are consistently winning something or consistently challenging. We can do that. We've created the philosophy and culture in the club already. We just need to introduce this into the first team and we're good to go. But you guys, of course, that's just my thoughts and opinions. You know, I'm very passionate when it comes to my views on the youth football and, you know, just how annoyed I get with our inefficiency as a club. But I honestly believe that if we become a club that's self-sufficient, we're going to reap the benefits. We've got something in the academy that clubs don't have, and clubs have spent a killing and a fortune to have. We're wasting it. We can't afford to waste it anymore. But you guys, of course, that's going to be the end for today's video. Please like, comment and subscribe. As I was saying before, if you want access to the match reaction videos, that's only exclusive to Patreon subscribers because, keep saying it, YouTube make it impossible for me to release it. Go to the link in the description below, click on the link, and if you're interested, if you want those exclusive videos, pick a tier for yourself. I'm going to be releasing the Malmo match reaction tomorrow, you guys, so if you're a Patreon sub, don't worry, you're going to have it in the early afternoon. I'm the inefficiency, this is Blue Line CV, signing out.